Hey guys, welcome back to the channel Everyday Carry for the Everyday Guy. I hope you guys had a good week. I've had a really difficult week with a bit of a stomach bug and a very serious video that I am putting out this week. This is actually the second time I'm filming this video. I filmed it the first time and then I went to see my trainer and mentor James Smart and we chatted about it and I wasn't happy with it. So I decided to do this video again. So this video is about the most secure way to attach your holster to your belt and obviously by definition your waistband, pants, whatever you want to call it. So I've been able to speak to quite a few instructors, Arno Barlow, Ruan Heidberg, Brian Mini, obviously James Smart as well, and all of the guys on Facebook and on WhatsApp have gotten in contact with me to give their opinion, and I really do appreciate all of you guys for taking the time to send me that. I really wanted to put out a very good video because this is a very hotly contested topic. I've tested the major kinds of clips, belt loop type things. The ones I'm going to be looking at are the standard soft loop, the quick clip, the 1.5 inch J clips. These are the standard clips we get here in South Africa. The 1.75 inch J clips. I'm also going to be looking at C clips, which is what most, I would say, instructors over here recommend over the J clip. I'm going to be talking quite a bit about this. And then also some of the more modern style J clips that we're getting from holsters sort of overseas, where they have maybe the technology to design a better style J clip. I'm going to be talking about these as well. So guys, right off the bat, the clip I'm going to be talking least about is the soft loop, simply because this is the most secure way to attach your firearm to your belt and waistband. It is so a proper soft loop has obviously a male and a female. The female side will have a little lip that you have to sort of engage first, so it's generally engaged from the bottom and then clicked in on the top. And to disengage, you pull on the top and it comes loose. So the disengagement is the opposite to the engagement. Okay, the reason I say this is the best is because once clipped into place, there's extremely little one can do in order to make the clip fail. Even if you try to make it fail, there's only one way this is clipping into place and only one way this is clipping out of place, for lack of a better term. However, it's important to understand that in this video, we're going to deal in the realm of possibility, not probability. Okay, the things I'm going to be talking about are the things that could possibly happen, not things that are probable to happen. It's very important we understand that dynamic. So I'm going to be saying things that people can say, well, the chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1. I don't disagree with you, but I looked at every option and I said, how could this possibly be fouled? So in the soft loop, the only potential failure point I can see is that the same way you as the user would disengage it, someone else who was attacking you would disengage it. What I mean by that is if the soft loop is sitting in this configuration, which means it's away from me, i.e. I am the user, I would put my hand on top and flick it downwards. Similarly, if it was facing towards me, meaning I'm someone wanting to grab and pull it off, if I was in an extremely close quarter combat situation, I go for my firearm, someone sees it, they reach out and grab it, there is the possibility, although the extremely unlikely probability, that they could grab this and by mistake pull that down and disengage your soft loop. That is the only failure point I see in the soft loop. And I want to reiterate, the probability of that happening is extremely slim. But if you took 100 million people and you gave them the soft loop and you said, try to disengage it, due to the law of averages, one person may get that right. And so I just want to put that out there. I'm not saying that's probable. It's highly improbable, but it is possible. So take that for what it is. Guys, in my opinion, the most secure way to attach your firearm to your belt out of the list of options we have here is with a soft loop. So I'm going to put the soft loop aside and we'll get back to that later. Also, I'm going to look at all of them, but stay tuned for the conclusion at the end. That's probably the most vital part of this entire video. I'll show the time down below. The conclusion in the end is going to sum everything up, and that's going to sort of put everything I say here into perspective. Guys, next we're going to move on to the C clip. Now, what a C clip effectively is it's like a belt loop with the centerpiece cut out to form the shape of a C. And the way this works is, sorry, also you're going to see this piece of material quite often. This is a piece of material made to simulate the thickness of a waistband. I'm going to try everything on my body as well, and I'll show you B-roll of that. So there will be a lot of cutting to B-roll. But obviously, for the sake of filming while I'm talking, I needed something to simulate the thickness of a waistband. My girlfriend's a fashion designer. I gave her one of my infiltrator pants. She recreated that thickness. So this is pretty much the thickness of the inside of a standard pants waistband. So what happens with the C-clip is your pants slides into a little gap behind the C, like that. And that's pretty much how it would sit. And then your belt would slide through these C's. Now, the reason these clips, I would say, are less susceptible to failure are because if there's anything wrong with your installation, there are visual cues. It's very easy to see, right? Because that C is open, you can see, oh, my belt isn't sitting right, or whatever the case may be. However, they are not exempt from failure. So just have a look at this. Okay, so this is a belt. This is a really poor quality belt, although this was my very first gun belt. When I started carrying right at the beginning, didn't know apples from oak trees, went on social media, said, what's the best gun belt to buy? Everybody recommended this gun belt. This belt at the time cost over $700. Okay, now let me just start off saying this is a poor gun belt. So I'm just using it as an example, but how many people, if I had it, are not running this gun belt? Now, can I make the C-clip fail? And that's also the way I'm going to be testing this. Can I induce a failure? I don't care how I induce it, because that's not what I'm looking at. What I'm looking at is, can I remove the holster from the belt in a manner other than directed? So the directed manner to remove the holster from the belt here is to slide this belt outwards. So the answer to the question of whether I can remove this from the belt is actually quite simple. I very easily can. Okay, now I know what you are saying. This is a very poor belt, and I appreciate that. So I'm going to eliminate this belt from the C-clip test and move on to the Denell's Cobra belt. So what we've got here is the Denell's Cobra belt. I did a belt review on this particular unit. It is a spectacular belt, and this is in no way a representation of the quality of the Denell's Cobra belt. This is a very good belt, but what I'm going to illustrate is that maybe not every carry system suits every clip. For example, your clip is part of your carry system. I would say your carry system is, say, 30% belt, 30% clip, 30% holster, and maybe 10% pants. Put it out there. You know, it's no sense you wearing a baggy, oversized pants with the right gear, because it's not going to work as directed. And I'll show you that a bit later on as well. So we've got a very good belt. We've got a very good C-clip. This is standard C-clip supplied to pretty much everyone in the country if you were to order one, more or less. And how hard is it going to be for me to remove this belt from these C-clips? Well, to be honest with you, not that hard. There's one, and there's two. So I just yanked this belt off the C-clip. But I get what you're saying. Maybe this belt is not the right belt because it's quite thin. So let's move on to something from America. So what we've got here is a belt from Beltman Belts over in the US. Beltman are a company who've been operating for, I don't even know how long. They make genuine leather bull hide, dual lined gun belts. And this is a belt I've used with great success for. I still use it. It's a very, very good gun belt. And guys, what I want to stress here is this is not a failure of any of the gear. So far, none of the gear has failed beyond that first belt. That first belt is a failure. None of the gear has failed. This gear just isn't suitable for, or isn't compatible with each other. That's maybe the best way to put it. But we've got a high quality. This belt costs over like $1,500. I'm not even 100% sure. Ask Paul Fisser. I'll leave links to his site in the description below. He's the importer of these belts. So we've got a genuine leather bullite dual lined gun belt without too much stress. I've taken this holster off this belt in a manner other than directed. So as I said, I'm going to chuck in B-roll of me doing this while it's on my body as well, with the firearm in the holster. If it has been in already, sorry about that, I'm editing as I'm thinking here. But as you can see, I've been able to achieve this result with the belt on my body as well. And I know what you're saying, all those belts are too thin, right? So all those belts were 1.5 inch belt. This is a 1.5 inch clip. 1.5 inch C-clip. What we've got here is the new belt, the Cinturon belt from Bravo Concealment, and you can try till the cows come home. You can do what you want in life. This belt is not coming off this clip. You will have no more skin left on your fingers before you get this belt off your clip. All 1.5 inch belts, all 1.5 inch clips. It's just that this belt suits these clips, and therefore you have now an ideal and safe carry system on your body. This is what I want to sort of express with these videos. You're not going to see any clip failures in these videos, but I am going to overcome pretty much each and every clip, except for the soft clip, which I explained earlier on. And so with what you've just seen with the C clip, right, is it probable to assume, or possible to assume, that if the C clip was the most popular clip used, so let's say 95% of the people who carry guns use C clips, which is kind of a good number for those who use J clips, right? And of that 95%, 30% have the incorrect belt. And as you saw, there are many types of incorrect belt for this carry system. And of that 30%, 10% did courses, shooting courses, extreme close quarter combat courses, etc. And of that 10%, 2% had failures like you saw today. Would that A, not be a pretty much accurate representation of the failure rate we get on the J clip? But we're going to get to the J clip next. And B, are we not at a point now where we should start looking at the carry system as opposed to the single clip as a failure point? The clips here have not failed. The system was not compatible with each other. When you've got a compatible belt with a compatible set of clips, you get a positive result. When you've got a great belt with a great set of clips, but they're not compatible, you get a bad result. So who are we going to blame here? The C clip? Are we going to say all of a sudden the C clip is the worst clip ever known to man? Well, no, the C clip is a great clip, and it's a great clip because it's a very idiot-proof clip. If you've got the right gear, it's hard to put a C clip on incorrectly. And that is what I've come up with, and that is one of my conclusions in this video. What you'll see next is there are many ways to incorrectly mount a J clip, and it is my opinion that is why we get so many failures. So guys, I do want to say C clips, I'm not knocking them. They are super useful. They serve a purpose. Their main advantage is you can see on your C clip when you are doing something wrong. Whereas with the J clip, the visual cues, as you'll see a little later on, are not there as clearly. So C clip, can it fail? Absolutely, it can fail. And then finally, guys, just a blanket statement on all of these clips, on all of these tests. The best belt to use that I have, and I've got about 6 or 7 belts, is the CR speed belt, simply because the CR speed belt fills the clip, right? And so what happens is the law of structural integrity, if you have anything with a void and you fill that void, the outer walls of that void achieve a degree of structural strength from the filling of the void. Think of a balloon. If you take a balloon and it's empty, it's more able to be popped than if you take a balloon, you fill it with cement, for example. Okay, so that might not be the best example, but that's the one I can think of right now. So just, work with me. So blanket statement, CR speed belt is the belt that works for all of these clips. So now I'm going to move on to the J clip. Okay guys, so what we have here is the correct installation of a J clip on a belt. As you can see, and I'll see if I need to put some close-ups in here. If I do, I will. The pants, which is simulated here, does not come over the inside of the curve of the J clip. It's lined up with the top of the belt properly. The clips themselves are the right size for the belt, so there's no gaps on the inside here. So what happens is, if this clip was to be lifted up, it would lift up with the belt as well. Shocker, right? How crazy is that? So if for whatever reason someone was to grab the bottom of that clip and yank it upwards, they would yank it upwards on the belt. Now, why is that important? This comes down to the size of the clip, guys. If you are running a clip that is too big, you lose that functionality. So what I mean is, if you're running a 1.75 inch clip on a 1.5 inch belt, you're going to lose that functionality. So that is the opportunity for your clip to not function as it should, i.e. your carry system is not ideal. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So here we have the exact same setup, perfect belt placement, perfect pants placement, and the only difference is we have 1.75 inch clips. And I don't know if you can see, if you can't see, I'll put close-ups in, there is a clear gap over there. Firstly, you can see the amount of movement we're talking about. But if I pulled on this clip, I could lift this clip up without affecting the belt. Now there is a problem, guys. So even with the best belt, in my opinion, for in terms of carry security, which is a CR speed belt, if you have the wrong size clip for your belt, you are opening yourself up to potential problems. Okay, this is not a fault in the 1.75-inch clip. It's not a fault in the pants. It's not a fault in the belt. It's a fault in the carry system. This carry system is not compatible. So rule number one, if you're going to carry J-clips, make sure they are the right size J-clips for your belt size. This is the thickest belt I have, the CR speed belt, okay? And you can see it's a failure point. Most other belts, especially your new sleek looking, formal looking belts, are even thinner than this. So the potential for failure there is even higher. So guys, for the next piece, I've switched over to the quick clip because this is the same methodology, or this example is the same as if it was done with a quick clip as if it was done with a J clip. What a lot of guys do, especially the bigger guys, and no disrespect to bigger guys, you are what you are and you are where you are in your life. They buy pants that's way too big for them, 2 sizes too big for them in order to carry their firearm comfortably. Now, what happens there is you run the risk then of folding your waistband over your belt. And as you can see here, we're looking at a minimal amount of foldage, okay? When you do that, it gets jammed up on the curve of your clip, whether it be a C clip or a quick clip. And what it causes is your clip to not seat correctly. Now, when is this failure most likely to happen? When you are sitting down, because what's going to happen is your thighs, the inside of your thighs, are going to press up against your holster. Your belt's not going anywhere because it's through the belt loops of your pants, and without causing too much issue, you can slide the holster off your belt. That is because your clip was not seated correctly. Now, the cue, the visual cue for this is so small that if you were to sort of ruck up in a hurry, you could miss that. Okay, if you're on a course and you just took your holster off and now everybody's going to put their holster on and they're doing it quickly because they want to get back to the line as quickly as possible, that is an absolute distinct possibility of happening. In fact, this even happened to me when I started carrying early on. I was like, what's wrong with this clip? And I realized, okay, I've got too much waistband inside my clip. And that is a failure point, guys. They're not a failure point in the holster, not a failure point in the clip, not a failure point in the belt. Perhaps a failure point in your pants was the wrong side, but more importantly, a failure point in the compatibility of your carry system. Okay, so that is something you absolutely have to look into. If you are going to be using C clips or quick clips, ensure you don't have too much pants or waistband over the U area or the top area of your clip. So as an example to prove my point, I've now got the perfect setup. Okay, we've got waistband, belt, clip is closed, belt fills 99.9% of the clip. So we've got good structural integrity. If I now go to, well, first I have to pull this off. There's absolutely no way it's going anywhere. But as you can see with the quick clip, there's this area here, which I like to call a hook on me so that I can get pulled off area. Okay, that's my term. If you're going to use it, I'm going to bill you. Okay, this little bit over here to make it comfortable to pull off. Clothing might, and remember we're dealing with the realm of possibility, not probability. There's a possibility clothing or foreign objects can get hooked underneath this clip. If that happens and you don't have the perfect carry system, you've got a problem. If it happens and you do have the perfect carry system, what will most likely happen is your clip will get pulled up with your belt. As you can see, I hope you guys can see that. Okay, now again, I kind of wish this was a bit smaller, right? But we're dealing with the realm of possibility, not probability. So, point here, ensure you don't have too much of your waistband curved over the U of your J-clip or quick clip. Now, in the complete opposite direction, again, some people wear pants that's too big and they're on a course and it's rough and they're tumbling and they're getting yanked and they're grappling. And what happens is that pants is too big and it gets pulled out the inside of their clip. So their clip is effectively sitting only on the belt. When that happens, I don't know if you can see this, but this belt is now way more movable inside here, okay? And if I now go to undo this clip, it comes up without the belt. Hope you guys can see it. If you can't, I will put B-roll in. So there is a potential failure point in your carry system. Okay, did your clip fail? No, it didn't fail. Did your belt fail? No, it didn't fail. Did your holster fail? No, it didn't fail. Your pants size failed. Therefore, your carry system failed. And guys, maybe this is me opening a whole new kettle of fish in a training environment, to where every time a clip fails, an instructor goes, hold on, let me see your setup. As opposed to saying, well, your J clip failed. J clips were invented by the devil, or the C clip failed was invented by the devil. I don't know. Instructors, use it, don't use it. But there's definitely validity to the fact that all of these things are able to fail, but they only do so when the carry system is not ideal. I do want to stress, I did try all of this on my body. So I'm just doing it this way for the sake of the video, but I tried all of this with the pressure of my body pushing against the holster and all those things. So J-clips, quick clips, that type deal, yes, they definitely are a more failure capable way of carrying. The simple reason for that is the visual cues aren't there like with the C-clip and with the soft loop. You know, soft loop, if it's not closed properly, close the thing properly and it's done. C-clip, you can see your belt, you can see everything. It's visually in front of you. That C is open, so you can see when something's wrong. J-clips and quick clips, you can't. It can look perfectly set up, but you might have the smallest thing out of alignment and you've got a problem. So also, if you are an instructor or if you are doing courses constantly, right, you have to remember these things are only designed to take so much of a battering. Let me give you an example. If you buy a Ferrari, it's a sports car, and you take it to the track every single weekend, your Ferrari is going to fail sooner than someone who takes it to the track once every 6 months and drives it normally all the other times. Okay, that's just the law of physics and the law of mechanics. The harder you push something, the sooner you're going to find failure points. And that constant pulling up of the J-clip and the quick clip, the fulcrum of that U where you pull up on it, there's high likelihood that develops stress fractures that you might not be able to see. How do you know how much pressure you need to pull on that clip to get it loose? Does the J-clip fail or the C-clip fail? No, they don't. But are they types of carry, or are they parts of carry systems that are more susceptible to human error? Are they less idiot-proof? Do they have more things you have to check to ensure that they are functioning correctly? Absolutely. So stay tuned. I'm chuck the conclusion in next, and we'll take it further from there. So guys, just before we conclude, I just want to show you two more clips. These are clips coming out of the US, right? This is the J clip on my last line of defense holster. This clip has like a knob that it's kind of like a C clip in reverse. It forms like a C if you think about it. I'll put close-ups in. So I've got it perfectly set up here, and have a look at this without even touching the belt. If I pull this clip upwards, it comes up with the belt. Now I understand that with your pants, with a belt going through the loops of your pants, there might be less movement. But again, guys, like, how secure does the clip need to be? You know, before we start saying maybe the clips aren't failing, maybe the carry system is failing. And for me, a clip failure is a broken clip. Then your clip has failed. Then you say, well, that clip is a very poor quality clip because it broke. Not because it came off your pants. So there can be no possible other reason to this happening other than we've got to blame that clip. Guys, then also what we've got here are the Bravo concealment clips. I'll put close-ups in, but this clip actually has a hook and a tooth. Okay, so what happens is if this is on properly, it's going to be so difficult to get this clip off incorrectly. I actually think in my review of the first torsion holster that I showed, this clip, even on a pants without a belt, I struggled to pull it off if it was clipped on correctly. For this clip to fail on this particular option with the right carry system, you know, it's possible, but it's so improbable. Okay, and I'm not saying clips are not failing. Instructors and people who say it's failed are not making this up. I'm saying we've got to look a bit past just the clip and say, well, what is causing these things to fail? You know, is it just the clip or is it something else? Okay, guys, so let's add some finality to this. Firstly, I've spoken to a few instructors and I've asked this question. If this is a real problem, why do we not add a training mechanism to it? For example, if you draw your firearm and you present, right, and you're in an extremely close quarter combat situation, for whatever reason you are drawing in that moment, and you pull the trigger and it goes click, you've got a massive problem here. You're expecting your firearm to be loaded, you've got rounds in the mag, so what do? You go to an immediate action drill, okay, and you do the same thing. That is quite a few more steps than what it would take to do this, right? So what am I saying? It's easier to remove a holster from a firearm than to run an immediate action drill. So if we can train the immediate action drill into our training, then surely you can train for that failure. Now, the probability of your holster coming out with the firearm is way less than your firearm jamming, okay? I've never had a holster come out with my firearm, although my firearm's jammed on the range many times, and there's many different factors for that. Similar to the reason that there's many different factors for your holster coming out with it when you go to draw it. So that is definitely one thing to look at. If it really is a problem, and 95% of the population using J-clips, surely this has to be something that needs to be introduced, because the potential result of failure of your holster coming out with a firearm and the potential result of failure of your firearm jamming in an extremely close quarter situation, it's kind of the same thing. Both are preventing you from getting that first shot off. It's just getting your holster off the firearm is quicker than running an immediate action drill. Why are we not introducing this to training? I'm not an instructor. I don't want to be an instructor. That's for you guys to have fun with. Secondly, guys, respect your instructors. Okay? I look at it this way. If I go to a course, it's like someone else inviting me to their house for dinner. I might not like what they offer to eat, but I'm going to say, yes, sir, thank you, sir, no, sir, and be polite, because these people are inherently trying to offer you something that could save your life. So whether you agree with them or not, respect them. If you didn't like the meal, go home and tell your wife, oh, that chicken didn't taste so good. But don't do it on social media. If you want to call out an instructor, do it private. These people work for the betterment of society. They have their reputations to consider, and a lot in the firearm industry is based off reputation, okay? So be respectful of that. You could be affecting someone's livelihood. Thirdly, on the topic of reputation, guys like G-Code, Highly Strategic, Last Line of Defense, T-Rex Arms, Bravo Concealment, these guys and companies are massive companies with enormously good reputations. If they're producing J-clips on their holsters, it stands to reason that they are confident enough in their product that they are not putting their name at risk. Okay? Similar to a lot of people say, well, these big companies don't properly test. I don't know how they test it, and that's a fair assumption. But also, these big companies have a lot more to lose if they produce a defective product. So for them to be producing J-clips and quick clips on their products is for them to be saying, if carried correctly, this is a perfectly acceptable, safe method of carry. For example, the Incog holster, which comes with dual-canted J-clips, was created under request from a close protection unit that needed to run a little low profile. Now, are we assuming that these people don't know what they are doing and therefore are producing a product of inferior quality? Guys like Travis Haley, guys like John Lovell, guys like the people at T-Rex Arms, Bravo Concealment, are we genuinely going to say that these people don't know what they're doing, or they are presenting a product that is unsafe to the environment or to the people using their product? I find it very difficult to say that, and I'm certainly not the person to say that yes or no. I know personally of people who've run J-clips on Craig Douglas's class, South Knock, multiple times. My trainer and mentor has run his courses 5 or 6 times. I can't remember exactly the figure. We were speaking about it yesterday. Never had the slightest problem. But again, he's wearing a 511 tactical pants. He's wearing a good belt, and he's wearing a good holster, and he knows what he's doing. Okay? Nothing to do with the clips failing, but he's got a good carry system. So also what you have to remember is the more people who use something with law of averages, the greater the possibility of failure. I guarantee if you get 1 million people, put them in a room, and you give each of them an eraser, 1 or 2 of them are going to eat that eraser. Just because people by nature will use things in a manner other than directed. Okay? You cannot blame the eraser. Right? In a similar way, if you have 1 million people using J-clips, there's a percentage of them are going to use them in a manner other than directed. Now, I do agree the J-clip is the kind of clip that you could get wrong quite easily. And if you as an instructor say, I don't want my students carrying J-clips because it is the least idiot proof or the least fail proof type of carry system, I'm totally with it. Listen, we're not carrying air rifles here, guys. We're not carrying hair dryers. We're carrying firearms. And if you say, I've seen this fail so many times, I don't want you guys carrying it as an instructor, then that's absolutely fair. Not because the clips are bad or because J clips are the devil, but because you as an instructor have seen that carry system fail so often and you want to protect your students. And often as instructors, you have to protect your students from themselves. Sometimes you've got to look at these things and say, these things fail not because they're bad, but because of the human interaction with them. And as instructors, I've seen this and I don't want to do it because I care about you, because I want you to be safe. So try to avoid this particular carry system. Absolutely fair. That's valid and that's super kind, that people take the time to do this. So definitely, I've got no problem with that. But so from my perspective, it's a bit difficult because I test gear. So I've got to constantly sort of look at what manufacturers supply and I've got to be respectful to them and say that I will test the gear in the manner in which you provided it to me. I do have limitations. There have been quite a few times where I say to manufacturers, sorry, I'm not comfortable with this gear. And unless you do this, this, and this, I'm not going to be the one to do a review on it. Simply because I don't want to go on YouTube and destroy someone's career. I don't need that kind of karma, and I'm not that kind of person. I like to do good things for people. So for me, it's very different, and it's very difficult to say to manufacturers, please give me only this, this, and this. People can say, well, don't bother with me. I'm not going to bother with you. I'll send it to someone else. So I've got to be very careful, but also I've got to be very safe. And to be honest, in fairness, the only clip I've ever seen fail was a C clip. I was with a buddy and he had a holster C clip on, and he leant against a metal railing, and the C, the top C or the top curve of the C had cracked inwards. Now that was because he was wearing a really, really cheap, a really bad belt. I don't even think it was a gun belt. Okay, so that C clip didn't fail. That carry system failed. The belt failed the C clip, if you ask me. So nothing is not susceptible to failure. Nothing is not susceptible to human idiocy, and I use that word very broadly. So just remember that. Also, guys, remember instructors are there to help us. If you disagree with one, do so privately. There's no need to have these public Facebook arguments or public YouTube arguments trying to hurt people's feelings and things like that. These guys have livelihoods, they have reputations, and in the firearm industry, like I said earlier, your livelihood is based on your reputation. So be respectful of that. Instructors are human beings. They are also capable of making mistakes and of learning new things. And the best instructors are ones who are open to learning and who are constantly learning. So that's it, guys. That is my overarching review of these 3 clips. The soft loop is the most secure way because there is the least amount of failure points. The C clip, second most secure, simply because there is the second least amount of opportunity to mess it up. And then the J clip, third least secure, because the human being is capable of messing up the usage of that clip more likely than the other 2. Neither of the clips are bad, okay? If you use them correctly, I'm pretty confident they're all going to function correctly. But remember, we are human beings and we're susceptible to mistakes. And if you want to eliminate the probability of a mistake from your carry system, then, there's nothing wrong with you moving up those tiers from J clip to soft loop or C clip or whatever the case may be. So guys, that is it. I'm sorry if I haven't replied to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram messages. Like I said, I've been a bit unwell. I'm going to get to everybody today. I promise I will reply to everybody. If there's anything about this video you don't agree with, absolutely. I'm totally cool with that. I'm open to learning new things and learning new points of view. I don't know everything. Maybe I didn't test something in the way I should have. Chat to me about it. You can email me. You can speak to me on Facebook, you can chat to me on YouTube, however you want to do it. I'm totally cool with it. I'm open to learning new ways and new methodologies. If it's something you agreed with, give it a like, share the video, subscribe. All those things really, really help me out. That's it, guys. Have a good week. I'll see you guys soon. Next week, I'm going to be having a look at some backpacks, I think. So have a good week. Cheers. God bless.